Hello and good evening to all of you joining us here on Sports Day. Nikhil with me at the moment. We'll try and analyze that match for you. We're talking a lot about how the Socceroos are going to be a tough challenge for the Indian team as far as their opener in the AFC Asia Cup is concerned. Promising first 50 minutes, one could say, but then the eventual did happen. But we'll try and tell you what exactly happened. But 2-0, the final scoreline. It's the Socceroos or the Australian team that have gone ahead and brushed aside the Indian team or the Blue Tigers. A very resolute effort, I would say, to begin with, as far as India are concerned. But we were talking about how it's always going to be an uphill task for the Indian team, and it did turn out to be the case. They were second best. There's no two doubts about that. Australia, the far better team, far better going forward, far better with their passes. Indians struggled again to keep the ball. But the good thing was the silver lining as far as India are concerned, being that first half as to how dogged and resolute they were. Nikhil joins me at the moment. Nikhil, your takeaway from this match? Not surprising as far as the result is concerned, I'd say. But what would be your takeaway as far as India go?
I think there is a lot to criticize, but there is a lot of positive as well. I think it's a mixed bag of a game, and I think as we continue with our live, we'll try and analyze both aspects because there were few things that will give you some hope, but there were few things that will leave you disappointed as well. Let's start with the fact that before this game, if you had asked me 2-0 to Australia as an Indian fan, would you take it? I would have said, sure. 2-0 would have been an acceptable result for an Indian fan, considering where Australia are at the moment. I mean, just to give you a bit of a context, I was there in Qatar during the FIFA World Cup. This is the very stadium where Australia played Argentina in the round of 16. And I saw that game, and then I spoke to a few Aussie fans right after the game was done. So this is the exact stadium where Australia played Argentina, the eventual world champions, at the World Cup. Now, what happened in that game? Argentina won 2-1. They were leading 2-0. Australia made a comeback, could have very well done 2-all also. They came very close. So, they came back fighting in that game. So to begin with, you knew it was an uphill task for the Indian team. But, I still expected them to play slightly better than what they played. Now, my mind goes back to that 2011 AFC Asian Cup, and I was really geared up for that one because India were making an appearance after a very long time. When India qualified that, I'd seen that whole qualification process when they were winning those tournaments and then they qualified. But that was an underwhelming result. India lost 4-0, I remember that
Yes.
particular game. And that was also 4-0 because of some heroics from Subrata Paul, who was outstanding within the goalpost. So he made some stunning saves, and Australia were all over India. But because of some amazing saves, 4-0. So from that, if you take a look at it, yes, there is an improvement. India has done 2-0. But I think from 2011 to 23, I think that there has been a lot more improvement in Indian football. I think Indian football per se, in terms of the leagues, in terms of the exposure you've started getting, in terms of the players that you're getting, in terms of the money that's been pumped in, there's a big difference. So if there has been a difference from there on of about 12 years from 2011 to now, I would have liked to have seen the Indian team play slightly better as well. Yes, there's an improvement from 4-0 to 2-0, but I think I would have liked to have seen them play a bit better than what they played today. I mean, you'll take 2-0, but I think once we dissect the game, there will be areas where I thought India were found wanting.
How about that missed opportunity in the first half, Nikhil? Clearly, that should have been a header that should have been converted by Sunil Chetri. Open header, one would say, and at that level, really could have changed the complexion of the game. Imagine if India had gone ahead in this particular match, we would have been having a different conversation altogether. Perhaps, to be fair, Australia definitely, wouldn't have let the game slip away and would have definitely bounced back. But the complexion of the game, fair to say, would have changed a lot. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, can you hear me?
Yes,
My
there's just
audio
a
and
bit of a
everything.
snag. Otherwise, we're good. Yeah.
Okay. Firstly, I think that was the chance of the match. And if you take a look at how India played and why I said I'm disappointed, is if you take a look at that first 15 minutes, India tried to make use of those chances. India tried to play football, is my point, in the first 15 minutes. So what you were doing is you were using your flanks, you were using the pace of a Changte and a Manveer, and then you knew that you needed someone like a Sunil Shetty to do the magic in the middle. That almost paid off. That almost paid off. I think if you look at that entire first half, probably the best chance that compared to the two teams, probably the best chance. But I wouldn't fault Sunil Chetri. It was a tough chance. I think it was a 50-50 chance from where he gets the header. He may have been a bit blocked as well from the defender who misses the header, reaches Sunil Chetri. He takes that header, and Sunil Chetri, for his height, is quite outstanding when it comes to headers per se. So you know that he can be dangerous with that. And I think that was India's plan, to use those flanks, because you had pace on both the flanks with Manveer and Changte, and then get those crosses in and let the magic happen in the middle, and Sunil Chetri do that. And I think almost paid off. India could have gone 1-0 up. But what really surprised me, and that's where I think the criticism lies, what really surprised me is from there on, India stopped playing football. India started playing a game which was just completely defensive. I must give credit to the Indian defensive setup. So I think when it came to the positioning and holding their position, they did outstandingly well. You could see those two lines of defense that they had made. So they all held shape. So that is something that just doesn't happen by chance. So this is something that the Indian team may have been practicing for a very long time. So they're holding their shape and were very well organized defensively. I'll give credit to them. Did not allow Australia to score that. And I think frustrated Australia for the longest time not getting that particular goal. So full credit for India for holding their defensive line and being in
Yeah.
shape throughout. But what I think is the problem is that when in the first 15 minutes you were okay to play some balls in the front, you were okay to counter attack, that is something that really went out. And I think the blame then lies with the entire team. And I'll start with defense. The playmaking was abysmal. The playmaking, the players weren't ready to play the ball in the center. You're only happy at playing the ball back and being safe. So you needed to take a few risks, play the ball in the center or play the ball up front. Be risk. I know that there are chances of your passes being intercepted, but that's the only way you will attack from defense, turn defense into attack. What India did is, when they were organized defensively very well, every time they got the ball, they were happy to just clear the ball. Let's just clear the ball. Let's just be defensive rather than playmaking. I would have liked for them to have taken those risks and tried to play some sort of football, use those flanks as well, at least get the midfield involved and then get your strikers involved. There's no point just sitting at the back and just trying to clear every ball. I think it worked for the first 45 minutes. It was going to, sooner or later, Australia were going to score. But that's what I'm saying. If you're gone down 2-0, trying to play football, trying to be the playmaker, trying to make some sort of move. And you know what is surprising? It's not that, Harshit, that these players can't do it. We see them in and out when they're playing internationally against lesser teams. We've seen them do it in whether they're playing in the I League or ISL. These are the players that can do it. I think the occasion and the opposition, which is Australia, got to them, and then there was these self doubts that whether we can replicate that sort of performance of playmaking against them. But my point is, you just tried it. Yes, you could have heard, you could have conceded a goal. So what? At least try. You've done it before. Let the world see that Indian football has moved forward from just being, a defensive side who's happy to clear the balls every time it comes into the D. Just do some playmaking. Do those short passes that you've been doing under Steam Match, right? And has paid dividends in the tournaments leading up to the AFC Asia Cup. Yes, you are against Australia, but show the world that you have moved forward from that. Just being happy, being defending and just looking for a 0-0 draw, which would have been great. But or at least when you went down, some sort of playmaking. That's the only criticism I have of India's performance today.
I think it brings me to the point that where when you say that they could have been better going forward, take had that appetite of taking a little bit of risk, be a little creative, be a little innovative going forward. I felt that too, but I think in all of that, the issue, the issue over there is the underlying issue over there is, I think, confidence. I think confidence was a bit of a miss over here, and I think probably it was the opposition that you were facing that got the better of the Indian team. I think psychologically you could see with those with that gameplay at times there were when there were those passes which you, let's say, you see that happen not just in international football, in club football as well. You're okay taking, let's say, maybe you're not sure of a pass, let's say, of it landing, let's say, exactly where you want it to land, but you take that chance, you take that 10% or the 15% chance, so that like you said, risk taking ability, and that little urge, let's say, to be a little innovative. I think that safety first approach also was because, again, you didn't want to be caught napping on the counter, you didn't want to lose possession. I think that's the reason why you saw so many of these square passes. Always you see a lot of square passes, a lot of passes at the back, tell you that the team's not really confident going forward. That's what I felt on a couple of occasions. Too many square passes, too many passes at the back. But I'll agree with you where you said, that, and that was my fear. After India conceded that first goal, I thought, and that too by a goalkeeping error, which we will talk about. Again, going down or conceding the first goal, that's fine. But then for one of your talismanic figures to give away the goal like that, obviously pegs you back. Having said that, my fear was after India went down in that conceded that first goal, that possibly you seeing the floodgates now open. And I'll be very honest, I thought there's 2, 3 more goals coming in after that. I was pleased that despite conceding the goal right up till the 7, 8 minutes of extra time that you saw, 9 minutes, the Indian team, like you said, held its shape even right towards the end. They didn't give it up, as against, let's say, former Indian teams that we've seen in the past lose their shape. That, I think, was a big takeaway. The fact that you were rock solid, obviously, in those first 45, and then even after going down 2 goals, you maintained the discipline and you maintained that shape right till the final whistle.
No, but the point is, if they were scared, then that is something that needs to be looked at, right?
Yeah.
I agree. I mentioned earlier that it's a big opposition. Absolutely agreed. But has an Indian football made progress from 2011? So let the world see that progress. This is the biggest stage that India would play at, right? You're not
Yeah.
qualifying for the FIFA World Cup anytime soon. So this is the biggest stage that you're playing. It's like, Euros and Copa America and AFCON. It is that of Asia. So the biggest stage that Indian team is playing at, against arguably the best team in Asia. So let the team see it. All I'm saying is that 0-0 is, if what you're aiming at is great, but there's no harm in doing what you can do. My point is that see, again, the 2011 team could not do it. I wasn't too surprised, because I think there was a big gulf, and I think the
Hmm.
standard of football that you were playing at that time had
Isn't the
taken a
Gulf
toll because of the
even right
domestic
now?
seasons
Even
that you had at that time. So I think all of that had taken toll on Indian football. But the team that exists now, I would have wanted them, and all those players that were playing, all those players that were playing are quite skillful. And what was interesting in terms of just pure skill, and you've said, this is a thing that you quite accept of Indian teams, that skill wise they're always very good. Today as well, Changte showed a few moves.
yeah.
There were a few moves shown by Manveer as well, which were outstanding. And Sunil Chetri. See, again, all I'm saying is, you had someone like a Sunil Chetri, you didn't use him. Sunil Chetri, by the way, was very hard. He was working really hard in defense. Even when the team was attacking, they were trying to play that high press. He was the only one making all those runs and working really hard. He was. But I would have liked to have seen him a bit more involved. If you tried some, through passes, if you had the courage to play football in the center as well. You were just happy playing square passes outside, or back passes, that let's just be safe. Let me be not the guy who makes that mistake when you're trying to play a through ball and that gets intercepted. I mean, try that. You will make a mistake or two, but that will also lead to magic. That will also show people how well organized you can be, and how much progress Indian football has made. I mean, 2-0 at the end of the day looks decent. As I said at the start of the program, I would have taken it playing against Australia, but I would have taken it with a better performance on the field in terms of, gumption, in terms of playmaking. If there was slight better playmaking, I think I would have been a happy man with 2-0 loss.
Hmm. Yeah. And I, it just, again, I agree with you. At the start of the match, if you said 2-0 and a fighting performance, Indian team keeping good shape, showing some promise. couple of chances here and there. I think I would have taken that, to be fair. But having said that, it just makes me wonder, and I see those comments also, Nikhil. A lot of people pointing out that what if you had a full-fledged Indian squad? What if there was a Jeekson Singh in the midfield? What if there was an Abdul Samad? What if there was, by the way, on the wing, though Manveer was very good, Changte, of course, we know how good he is and has been, not just for club, but obviously the country as well. But what if there was Ashik on the other flank as well? Ashik Kurunian on the wing again. That guy has some serious speed, and maybe the fact that we were talking about the Indians being innovative. Well, he is actually that guy who tends to be not just very good with his runs going forward, but has the ability to be innovative as well. But it just gives me confidence. I'll be very honest again, because it's a scoreline that I would have taken at the start as well. It wasn't my full-fledged squad, as I know. It just gives me optimism. And I think right now, and I remember saying this when I was doing a video on this particular match yesterday. I think, truth be told, India would, for all practical purposes, be eyeing the third spot. Uzbekistan, Australia being the superior teams in the group, probably are getting those first two spots. 102 rank where India are at the moment. The other two teams are ranked 68 and 25 in Uzbekistan and Australia respectively. You think with the play that they have and the game that they have, they're occupying the first two. But the third spot, India, if they can get that win against Syria and probably a draw against Uzbekistan, which will be a tough ask. If India are to finish third, I still feel there's a chance over there. And India, with this performance, gives me hope that maybe the third spot can be India's for real.
Yeah, maybe, but I think it's too early to even look at the third spot because you've got Uzbekistan next up. You've got Syria as well. I mean, Syria is a good team, but India has also tasted success against them. So
Yes.
you can do that. Uzbekistan, yes, a very good team again, but I think you've already played the toughest team in the group already. So see, again, as I say, it doesn't matter to me what the scoreline is, as so long as India can show that they can play proper football, that they can string together 5 passes, which wasn't happening today. I think on a lot of occasions when players got the ball and they had free space, they didn't know what to do. They would not. I mean, they felt as if, oh my God, I have the ball, and can I do something? Can I not do something? There was a lot of hesitation in either stitching to a good pass, giving you a through ball, or even taking the ball till someone comes attacking. So that, I mean, there should be a bit of where players need to feel that yes, we belong to this stage. I think that was missing, and you were more than happy just defending. I think kudos to both Jhingan and Rahul Beke. I think they were standout two pillars. Your central defenders were very good. Your biggest fear against Australia were those set pieces, especially because of the height advantage that Australia had. But I think your two central defenders did very well, and credit, by the way, to Manveer as well. The tallest player there, central defender, who plays for Leicester City. He was the guy who was always coming into the D, and he's a big unit. But Manveer did a great job, defending him. So credit in terms of defensively organized and how they put their bodies on line. They were ready to give it their all. So for that, big thumbs up for the Indian team. They showed a lot of heart there. But I keep repeating, I would have liked to have seen some sort of, uh, 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 playmaking, some sort of, in Hindi, as we say, dileri, that okay, I'm going to play. And you talk about players that India were missing. Yes, Korean is very skillful. He has a lot of pace as well. All of that I know. But also the point is, for that to happen, the playmaking needed to happen from behind, starting with the defenders to your midfielders to forward, right? So it had to be passed from a Jhingan to an Apuya to your forward. It had to follow that chain. That wasn't happening because you were not ready to string together 5 passes. So yes, personnel could have changed, but would that have changed the way India played? I'm not too sure. And this comes from the confidence that the entire team has. And I think everyone who stepped up today, a lot of your players were missing, but even the youngster who got his debut today was outstanding, was ready to put his body on line. So all of them, Nikhil Pujari was good, Subhashish was outstanding, as left back. Everyone really put their 100% into the game. But the only thing, again, I keep repeating, I would have liked them to play their natural game, which we see them play when they play club football or for the Indian team otherwise. I just think they were overawed by the situation and the
Yeah.
opposition. And you're like, oh, let's just not concede a goal. Aega goal to chhod do. We won't even try. That was disappointing. I hope they, if they had played the entire 90 minutes like the first 15 minutes, whatever the scoreline, I would have been a happy man.
Hmm. Would you, should we at this point, Nikhil, try and take some questions maybe?
Sure.
All right. One second. Let me go all the way up. Let's see. Okay. Ajit Deb says that we need to avoid silly mistakes. I think he's talking about, of course, the first goal that India conceded. And obviously, a lot of misplaced passes. Well, I remember right at the start of the second half, the ball was given away cheaply, and a couple of other occasions as well. And we know how criminal it is in football to give the ball away rather cheaply. So, yes, I don't think we need to add anything more to it. Yes, silly mistakes, of course, at this level have to be avoided.
Yeah.
Let's see. Shubham says that Rahul Beke and Sandesh Jhingan are standout from India. The best performers easily on the day. Uh, Sahil Rana Nikhil's asking if things would have changed had India played a practice match.
No, as I said, I think this Indian teams played enough together. I know the coach wasn't very happy, not too much time that they got together, and they spent a lot of time uh, in Qatar. They landed there end December, so they've been there a good half a month. So they've done their hard yards. They may have played some match simulation amongst themselves. I don't know. I don't think that would have made much of a difference. I think what you saw today just slightly overawed by the occasion as well as the opposition. I think that's what happened. It wouldn't have changed if you had played a practice match.
Okay, let's move forward. Aksat says, thank you so much for supporting Indian football. Aksat, we will continue to give you the coverage as far as the AFC Asian Cup is
No,
concerned.
but it's
So
this is
we'll
not
make
our
sure.
first video. We've already done so much. And I
And
don't know if you've been watching sports today, but do check out. We've done plenty of videos leading up to this game, and we continue to do that. And it's not from this tournament. We've been doing previous tournaments as well.
yeah, we did SAF, we did Intercontinental last year, I remember. So yeah, we've been at it. We've been at it. Let's see. Let's see. Kiran says, is it safe to say that Indian football will take 25 years at least to get better?
I don't know years is an issue or not because I really thought that I gave you an example between 2011 to now is again, a good 12 years. So I think it had moved forward quite a bit, at least with what we were seeing in other games. But just today, the approach is what left me a bit baffled. Just the approach, not the performance in the end, but the approach.
Okay, going forward with the comments. Okay, Saurav Mukherjee says that India didn't have anything in the middle. You can't hoik everything. There was no passing between in the midfield. Australia didn't even get tested. Goalkeeping mistakes cost India the match.
100% exactly what we've discussed. Exactly. Completely agree.
Okay. Let's see if there's more comments that we have. Rookie Techie is saying that India need route level international coaching. We have enough money to bring good coaches. BCCI or someone should step up.
No.
Why?
But in terms of the coaching, I think Stimack's a very good coach. There's no issue there. It's just that you know uh, we need to find a way to really step up on those big days. I don't know what his instructions were today. I'd be very surprised if he did instruct them that okay, just shut shop and be happy, and we're not going to play anything at all. I'd be very surprised because whatever I saw of the team before this, leading up to this tournament for the last 12 months or so that they've been playing, I've been impressed with the way that they've been playing football under Steamac. I've been impressed with that.
Hmm. Okay, Frank Marcel has a comment, and this should be the last one for the evening. He says that the players played to their level. Okay. One second, I think I lost. He says that the players played to their level. You can't expect too much against a very good Australian side, considering only last year they went to toe with Argentina and France.
No, but we already said that's a better team. It's not even a. I don't think any one of us expected India to win this game. As I said, 2-0 is also a good result. But I'm not saying at the end of the day you want to see result, right? See, we when you're supporting Indian team, when you saw the group, you and I both knew that it's next to impossible to make the next round, right? We know that. So what you have gone there to do is to show your lakhs of supporters that listen, we have improved. We are now, we can match up in terms of playmaking, in terms of defense, in terms of striking with the rest of the team. So certain boxes you tick today, but certain boxes you did not, where you seemed very inferior. So you only want to see progress. It doesn't matter, that you win or you lose. You have to show the world that you're playing good football, right? I mean, Japan, the recent past, when they're playing at the world level, they also know that it may not be possible to win the World Cup. But when they're playing against a top European team, they're matching them step to step. That's what you want to see. India could have very well lost 2-0 here, no problem. 3-0 also I would have taken, so long as they would have also had a few attacks. They weren't just happy to sit back. And they were playing normal football of passing in the center, not just square, not always back. Playmaking, stringing together 5-7 passes together. I'm not even asking for 15, 16. That wasn't happening. The third pass and you would lose possession because you were just overawed and you were like, oh, what do I do? It was like when you had the ball, you didn't know what to do. But when you're defending, you knew that I have to defend this way. I don't have to concede the goal. You were assured of that. So that was a plan that you had and you executed. But was there a plan that you were going to do? I thought there was a plan in the first 15 minutes where you were using the pace at the wings and giving those crosses in the center and getting Chetri involved. If that is the plan you had, sure. But you should have continued with it. Just shut shop. That's what surprised me.
And Murali Krishna is echoing the same sentiment. He says that should have been a bit aggressive rather than defensive because attack is the best form of defense.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm not
but I
even going
think
into attack. I'm saying
I think
just play football. Just play football. Play make. Just feed a few balls, see gaps, play normal like these guys play when we see them play for the Indian team in the past few months. Like they play in the ISL. I agree the opposition is tough, so the success rate would have been less, but at least intent and approach should have been that. Whether it pays off or not is a different thing.
yeah. Okay, should we end it? I think we've addressed all the questions we had. Unless there's more light for
Sure.
us to shed, I think we've touched upon most things. And Shivam is sending a message. He wants something with regards to the stream. So,
Okay.
with that,
Bye
we
bye.
will call it a wrap. Thank you so much, guys. Loved having a chat with you all, talking about the match. Loved all your comments as well. In case you're joining us right now, please go all the way back. We've tried to touch upon the various instances which shaped up this match and determined the result of this match. And tap that bell icon, subscribe to us here at Sports Day. We like covering everything sport, not just cricket. We go much beyond cricket. And yeah, tap that bell so that you know when we go live. For now, I'll take your leave, but the coverage and all the news updates continue here on Sports Day.